very hands-on. He'd show it to us, he'd chunk it down, then we'd practice it, and then we'd move on to the next thing. It was very, very quick in those days. These days we take a lot more time weaving everything in so that we revisit the whole thing over and over again to gain more proficiency, because we've allowed ourselves more time to do that. But basically, yeah, it is a no-nonsense, hands-on, get-it-done course. When people choose a hypnotherapy course, it's a really, really tough decision to make. And often when I'm going on about this stuff, other therapists will say, well, Greg, you're being kind of negative because you're saying this doesn't work, and what are you wasting your time with that for? And, I can see where that would be the case. People would think that I was being negative. From my point of view, I look at it like this. First of all, unless you're spending maybe a couple of $100 on a distance learning course thinking you're going to be a hypnotherapist, you're going to be attending a course, you're going to be spending a fair bit of money, time, and effort to learn certain skills and certain theories. Then you may go out there thinking you're going to make your living doing hypnotherapy, only to find that you haven't got the tools to enable you to do that. And that upsets me because there's no need for it. It's the same as when clients come to me and say, I've tried hypnotherapy, it didn't work. I hate that. They've spent hundreds of pounds and think they're failures because they couldn't do it, when in fact it was the therapist that couldn't enable them to do it because the therapist didn't have the tools. I've just worked with a young lady. Her mom introduced me to her. She has severe anxiety, had been for hypnotherapy. The hypnotherapist said she can't relax. She needed to get on a hypnotherapy couch, something which I've never owned or used. And the woman couldn't recline because she was too anxious. She needed to sit up. And the therapist said, well, we can't do hypnotherapy then. And she said also, and you work visually, and that means you're not a good hypnotherapy subject. When in my experience, of course, visuals are the best hypnotherapy subjects. And so she said, well, hypnotherapy is not for you. We need to do counseling. Now, counseling won't touch the cause of that problem in a million years. So her mom had heard about me, said, look, we're desperate. I said, okay, here's the deal. And 2 sessions later, job done. It's not difficult when you have the tools. The biggest problem for me, I guess, in explaining this to therapists is it's the difference between knowing, let's say, about art history. You may be an authority on artwork and so on and so forth. In hypnotherapy, you have to paint the picture. If you can't paint the picture, you're out of business. You've got to be proficient with effective tools.